Here are 35 online reviews of the audiobook titled, Atomic Habits. Written and narrated by James Clear. 1. Yoda shit. Can't hurt me, and this afterwards saved my life after a betrayal. Instead of spiraling into hell, I grabbed onto these lifelines that just appeared out of nowhere. Thank you. 2. Start here, if you are looking to achieve in life. I'll state this book should be read, then studied. I'll probably read this book twice a year until my life habits are conducive to the life I desire to live. Many times we try to change, but life gets in the way. The author provides a framework to overcome the mental aspect towards establishing the habits you want. 3. Mostly an infomercial. The book has a handful of interesting anecdotes supported by some data about habits and success. This could be contained within a magazine article. The rest is mostly fluff, repetition, and ploys to get you to visit his website, for which one has to register by giving an email address. Better suited for a podcast than a book. 4. Immature tone and mediocre content. Though this book has some okay advice on forming habits, it's been much better presented in other books. The whole tone of the author is extremely self-obsessed, and he comes across sounding like an immature 15-year-old who thinks he's an expert because he's read 2 books in his life. If you want a good book about habits that is both much better researched and written, you should instead go for The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. 5. Website plugin torture. The constant plugin of the website was torture. I couldn't even finish the book. Please keep that to a minimum. 6. Some good nuggets of wisdom. This book offers some wonderful advice, although I didn't care for the author's voice and it was a tad repetitive. Also, not sure what this guy's hang up with sex and porn is about, but I found it unhelpful and bizarre to have mentioned it in this book several times. Also seemed aimed at a male audience. 7. Don't waste your time or money/credit. Too many long, drawn-out stories. The tips are regurgitated information you've heard for years. And within maybe 30 seconds, I heard him refer to his website twice. You also have to submit your email address to do check around his site. I want a book I can just listen to and get interesting, fresh information from. 8. The after book is awful. The book itself is very good, it really brings very interesting things, although they are common sense, they are very well said. The problem is that the author throughout the book, seriously, all the time, promises extra material in a web page that, oh surprise, it does not exist. Honestly, that was a disappointment to me, because if I buy the book, where a thing is promised that then does not exist, I feel like I have been cheated. Inevitably, every time I see some other product of this same author, I do not intend to buy it, because I think I will be deceived again with something else. 9. Worth every word. Amazing. I love this book. I have read a lot of self-help books and they seem to want to sell you a bigger and better product. They give you a sample of a very expensive service and the book is meant to sell you their product. James Clear gives you URLs, additional resources, and simply wants to help. These concepts are simple and can change your life if you apply them. It's all backed by science and examples of how to apply the concepts. This book has helped me progress through medical school and create habits that have changed my life. Simply put, amazing. 10. Love this book. Such a clear and concise set of strategies to make your life better. Clear gives easy to follow example and, for me, relevant scenarios to help apply the strategies. I ended up buying the book and the online resources are very helpful and laid out well. If you're looking to make some small changes that lead to much bigger ones, give it a listen/read. It was quick, easy, and relevant. 11. Abundance of clear information. Though I can definitely see how boring this book can seem, once you get into it you'll learn that you have to get past the boredom to really GWT something out of it. Highly recommend for anyone struggling with financial difficulties, addiction, or any person that feels the need to do better. Thank you, James Clear. 12. The narrator needs to work on his skills. The book offers great resources, however the narrator did such a poor job in putting the effort to making the read interesting. Very plain reading on his part, at times couldn't focus on the chapters. I need to go and just read it myself again without the audio because it was such a terrible experience. 13. Habits developed in high school are not necessarily motivating for adults. It seems that most of the motivational materials I've encountered lately are written by folks who are in their 20s, occasionally early 30s, who talk about having life figured out. Different lives. Different circumstances. Not for me. I'm sure this writer's experience of being hit by a bat in high school and not playing varsity baseball was rough for him. As someone over 40 who has lived through a lot of other life-altering experiences, it does not resonate, and listening to him was like watching paint dry. 14. Disappointed. More infomercial than anything else. Dissatisfied with content. His story, at the beginning, hooked me, and then a constant reference to his website was annoying. I couldn't listen any longer. 15. Actionable insights you can start right now. James Clear lays out the practical science and actionable methods for you to start building positive habits today. I especially like the section on habit tracking. Very good methods and examples given in that area. I plan on reading this book again throughout the year, it was so good. I highly recommend giving this book a read. 16. Simple, but not easy. The ideas and concepts in this book are simple on the surface. However, the way in which you put them to use is the real genius of the book. I highly recommend this book for everyone wanting to improve. 17. Generic and boring. The advice in this book is generic, unimaginative, and overdone. The author meant well, but the telling of personal hardships drags on and on. I don't recommend this book unless you want to be put to sleep. 18. AtomicHabits.com/media. Atomic Habits has a solid premise but doesn't capitalize on it. Instead, it just repeats itself 50x with anecdotes and metaphors. And I was very annoyed by everything being tied to a website that required me to sign up for a mailing list. I already paid for the book. 19. Worth a try. It could be very helpful, but I did find it frustrating that the author continually recommended checking out his website. I already subscribed to his weekly emails, but this was a bit frustrating for me. 20. Fantastic book. Just a little less of a commercial. Absolutely loved the book. He is well read in the field and makes it very easy to implement all that you have read previously in other books. Well paced and motivating. My only complaint is it feels like a TV show at times with the every 10-minute plug for his website. 21. Some good takeaways. I took away a few good things from this Audible, but mostly the narrator's tone was dull emo. It was easy to zone out while listening. 22. Easy to listen to but redundant. The overall narration of this audiobook was great, but I found myself skipping a lot of the content because the examples became redundant and boring. 23. Highly recommend this book. Oh, did I mention that I'd recommend this book? I have definitely taken on some habits I've been wanting to make part of my life. It will teach you how to implement good habits and get rid of bad ones in a simple and methodical way. For the price of a few Starbucks coffee drinks, you can change your life for the better. 24. Now one of my top 5 books of all time. This book is amazingly well written. The tips and information are easy to understand and useful. I plan on listening to this book a few more times to really digest everything that it has to offer. You will not regret using a credit on this book. 25. I can't recommend this book. Let me clarify by saying that I want to recommend this book. You can learn a lot about building good habits and breaking bad habits from this book. However, all of the resources meant to accompany the book are on the author's website, which he mentions probably 100 or so times. I didn't count, but it's probably even more than that. Unfortunately, when you get there, he asks for your email address before he'll send you any of the resources you already paid for when buying the book. As we've all come to understand, that just means that he wants to market other products so he can make even more money from you. I'm sure there are other books on the subject that are geared more toward helping the reader instead of enriching the author. 26. Met. Honestly, I didn't find anything mind-blowing on this book. I would just use the materials attached, they explain themselves. 27. Better than expected. I read one sentence from this book, can't remember where it was referenced, but I was determined to know more. That one sentence. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. That's what got me hooked, and I'm so glad I bought the Audible, learned so much, but I will definitely be getting the paper book as well to follow along with the Audible. I know I will listen and read it again and again and implement good atomic habits, systems, to improve my daily living habits. Thanks so much James Clear for writing this book. 28. Primarily for fitness/sports goals. Although the description states that the system is for any kind of goal, most of the examples relate to fitness training, and most of the stories are about men. While the principles could technically be applied to other types of habits, the overall approach is for sports. Nothing wrong with that, if the description would have made that clear. I would not have selected this title if I'd known. The second time I tried to listen to it, I fell asleep, which was nice but not the reason for purchasing it. 29. Monotone robot reading, I cannot finish it. I had to stop listening because the author/narrator literally just read the book out loud. No voice inflection, no personal stories or examples, but since it got such high reviews, I'll try reading it versus listening to the audiobook. 30. Terrible book. Terrible book. This was truly a waste of money and time. The concept and thought processes advised by the writer are unrealistic. Maybe in a dream world. I want my money back, please. Or at the very least a book that makes sense. 31. Obvious. Really just obvious things to do. If you really need someone to point it out, then this is the book for you. I advocate self-awareness and you'll figure it out. 32. Uninspiring, repetitive, and waste of time. The only idea that stayed with me is 1% improvement on each attempt compounded into remarkable change. Leaving those few seconds of listening, rest of the book is an experience of boredom, waiting in vain, irritating repetition, and worst of all, rotten advertisement of author's website almost before every pause. Better you waste those credits, but don't waste your time too. With two less worthy options, I have to rethink on my Audible subscription too. 33. It's just what I needed to hear. There's nothing earth-shattering new in this book, but sometimes you just need to hear it said in a way that breaks through all the crap in your head. That's what this book did for me. I also like how humble he is, it makes it easier to consume his advice. 34. Not so hot. The problem with this book is that every chapter or more often he would refer to written material/worksheets, etc. on his website. If I wanted written material, I would have purchased the book. I would have liked it if he could have adjusted this presentation to be one for listeners. So for me it was not a great experience, could have been so much better. 35. Changed my life. I read this book initially because I was struggling with mild depression, that was being fueled by my lack of structure and discipline. I craved a routine and healthier habits. By reading this book, I found several helpful, efficient, and easy tips to help create better habits for myself, which in turn dramatically improved my daily routine for the better. I highly recommend this book for anyone looking to make a major change in their daily routine or thought process. As James himself says in this book, meaningful change does not require radical change. 5 stars. Thank you for watching. Please, do not forget to subscribe, like and share this video. Tune in for more online audiobooks reviews.